on behalf of Bruham Mumbai Municipal Corporation Education Department. I welcome you all for the online education. Myself, Mrs. Samina Ibrahim Kazi, and today I will be teaching you the chapter number 15, Life Processes in Living Organisms from Science Part 2nd. And we are going to continue with this chapter. Our today's topics are first, coordination in plants, and second, that is growth relevant movements in the plant. Okay, so let's begin with our chapter, that is life processes in living organisms. So before starting with our today's points, let us do a quick recap of the previous points which we have learned. So firstly, we have seen about the kidneys, how the kidneys they work. The kidneys they play a very important role as they are the important organ in the excretory system of human beings. Okay, so let us know some few points about kidneys. If we see the position of the kidneys, you will see that the right kidney is slightly at the lower position as compared to the left kidney. Okay, then we have seen that in the kidney there are approximately 10 lakh nephrons and approximately 5 liters of blood which is present in a normal healthy person's body. It is filtered by kidneys about 400 times every day. Okay, it means that the kidneys are very efficient, they are very hardworking as they filter about 5 liters of blood being present in a normal healthy person. They filter it about 400 times. And every day the kidneys they filter about 180 to 190 liters of blood, from which about 1 to 1.9 liters of urine is being formed. Okay, every day the kidneys they filter nearly about 180 liters to 190 liters of blood, and from which they separate about 1 to 1.9 liters of urine. Okay, and then the remaining liquid it is being reabsorbed. Okay, so kidneys they play a very vital role in our body. So what are the functions of kidneys? We have seen that the kidneys they eliminate the waste products which are being formed in the body. Its elimination it is being done with the help of the kidneys. Secondly, the kidneys they regulate the fluid balance. Okay, the body fluidity it is being maintained, it is being regulated with the help of the kidneys. Then the kidneys regulates the blood pressure. Okay, the blood pressure is also being regulated, it is being controlled, it is being managed with the help of the kidneys. Then the kidneys regulate the red blood cell production. Okay, red blood cells production it is also being regulated with the help of the kidneys. So the kidneys they play a very vital role. But the efficiency of the kidneys can be adversely affected by injury, infection, or decreased blood supply. Sometimes it happens that due to some infection, due to some damage, or if there is a tumor which is being formed, or if there is any side effect of any medicine, then it can lead to the kidney diseases. It can cause the damage to the kidney. Okay, so here are some of the symptoms of kidney diseases. The first one that is fatigue. I told you what is mean by fatigue. Fatigue is extreme tiredness. Okay, the person he feels it to be very lazy. He is not being able to carry out his daily activities with more energy. He feels it to be very tired. That is fatigue. Second, nausea. Nausea means feeling sick with feeling of vomit. Okay, they feel it to be like vomiting. Okay, then third, loss of appetite means he doesn't feel hungry. Unintentional weight loss. Okay, there is a sudden loss in the weight as he is unable to have his food with that much of hungerness. Okay, then itching, then high blood pressure, difficulty in sleeping, and shortening of the breath. These are certain causes and symptoms of kidney diseases. This we have seen. Then there are 5 stages of kidney disease does not occur all of suddenly. There are 5 stages through which we can understand that slowly and slowly the kidney is getting damaged, it is getting the failure. Okay, so the stage 1, if the kidney is working more efficiently, if the percentage of working of the kidney is greater than 90%, then we can say that it is a normal functioning of the kidney. Then second stage, if the kidney functions about 60 to 89%, then we can say that it is mildly moderate functioning of the kidney. Then third stage, if the kidney functions about 30 to 59%, then it is mild or it is being decreased. The functioning of the kidney, it is being decreased. And fourth stage, if the kidney functions about 15 to 29%, means it is severely decreased. The functioning of the kidney, it is being severely decreased. And the last stage, that is stage 5, when the functioning of the kidney is less than 15%, means there is a kidney failure. Okay, so we must be very alert, okay, to see that the kidney should not get any damage. Then generally it is being seen that the 20-year-old Indians, they experience with this kidney failure. What are the reasons behind it? The very first one, that is the smoking. Smoking, as we say, that it is not being safe for our life. It is being dangerous in all the ways. Okay, so smoking can lead to the kidney failure. Second, drinking alcohol, that is also being a very problematic as it can have an effect on the kidney. Okay, and it can lead to the kidney failure. Then the third point, that is poor eating habits. Okay, if we don't eat properly, if we don't have our daily diet on the proper right time with all the contents, then it can lead to the kidney failure. So keeping a healthy habits of eating, so that can improve the health of our body as well as the kidney functioning. So if it is a poor eating habit, then it can lead to kidney failure. Then sedentary lifestyle, I have said you yesterday also that it is being that we are lazy. If we don't perform the daily activities, daily exercises and all, then it can also have an effect on the kidney. Okay, so sedentary lifestyle is also a reason for kidney failure. Okay, so these are the some of the reasons of kidney failure. Then a kidney failure, it is not being safe for our body. So in order to keep our kidney healthy, we must follow this following good habits. Firstly, eat a healthy diet rich in fruits and vegetables. Okay, we should have a healthy diet. Okay, it should not be only the veg or only the non-veg or only the fruits. It should include all the varieties, all the types of nutrients which you can get it from all the food foodstuffs. Okay, so it is very important that you should have a healthy diet which is rich in fruits, vegetables and all the important nutrients which are being required for the growth of our body. Secondly, reduce salt intake. Okay, the salt consumption should be less in our body. Third, exercise regularly. We must have a habit of exercising regularly. Okay, then maintain a healthy weight. Okay, it should not be too high or it should not be too low. It should be a moderate one. It should be a healthy weight. Okay, we must say completely no to smoking. Okay, we should not smoke at all. Okay, not of any type, not for any reason. Okay, and the last, that is manage your blood sugar levels. Okay, the blood sugar level should also be controlled. It should be in a proper way. Then if the kidneys fail, then nitrogenous waste are separated from the body through some machine, and this process, it is called as dialysis. Okay, so what is dialysis? The process of separating the nitrogenous waste from blood with the help of the machine, it is called as dialysis. Okay, if the kidneys they fail, if they are failed due to any reason, either by injury, either by infection or due to improper habits, then it can lead to the kidney failure, and if the kidney fails, then what will happen? The nitrogenous waste, they will remain in our body, and if this nitrogenous waste, if they get collected in the body, if they remain in the body for a longer time, then it can be very dangerous for our life. It can lead to death as well. So in order to prevent it, in order to remove this nitrogenous waste from the body, some artificial machine, it is being used up. So this process of separating means removing the nitrogenous waste from the blood with the help of some machine. This process, it is called as dialysis. Okay. So about 500 ml of blood is sent at one time through this machine, and purified blood is reinfused into the body of the patient. Okay. It is a procedure when a dialysis machine and a special filter called an artificial kidney or a dialyzer are used to clean the blood. This is done with the help of some minor injury in our body. Okay, this hemodialysis, it is the method, it is the procedure in which the dialysis machine and a special filter which is called as the dialyzer, it is being used. Okay, and with the help of which the blood is being cleaned, and the purified blood, it is again reinfused into the body of the patient, and it is done with the help of some minor surgery, by doing certain small surgery in the patient. Okay, so this is about dialysis. Then the next point which we have seen, that sometimes while eating we bite our finger or tongue by mistake, and sometimes we choke while eating in a hurry. Okay, so why is this happening? We know that in our body there are different organ systems, right? We are a multicellular organism, so there are many organs and there are many organ systems in our body, and our life goes on smoothly if there is a coordination between the different organ systems or the organs of our body. So there must be a coordination. Okay, so what is meant by coordination? The systematic regulation of different processes can be controlled, and bringing about the different processes in the proper sequence. It is called as coordination. Okay, what is coordination? Just like we coordinate, we help, we support each other in doing some work. Just like if it is a cricket team, if we talk about a cricket team, so there is not just the batsmen or just the bowlers, right? It is a teamwork. They help each other, they support each other so that the whole team wins. In the same way, in our body also, there are different organs, there are different organ systems present in our body. And if the body wants to run it smoothly, if the body has to live a healthy life, then there must be the coordination between the different organs and organ systems. Okay, so this systematic regulation of the different processes which is being controlled and which is being brought about for performing the different processes in the body, it is called as coordination. Understood, everyone? Then if any activity in the body is to be completed successfully, then there must be a proper coordination between the different systems and organs participating at the different stages of that activity. Okay, if you see here on the in the picture, you will see there are different systems, right? And these systems, they will work smoothly, they will perform their function properly only if there is a coordination between them. Okay, only if there is the coordination between the different organ systems of the body. Okay, there needs to be a proper coordination between the internal activities of the body resulting from various factors like temperature, water level, enzyme level, etc., or stimuli arising in the surrounding environment. Okay, there must be a proper coordination between the internal activities which are being resulting due to the change in the temperature. Okay, if the temperature, even if the outside temperature changes, then even then the internal organs or the organ systems, they don't affect, they are being performing their function very smoothly. Okay, So here you can see a flow chart which is describing about the body coordination. If you see the body coordination, it is being mainly of two types, that is nervous coordination and hormonal coordination. Nervous coordination, by the name only you will understand that it is being controlled and it is being coordinated with the help of the nervous system. And hormonal coordination, it is being controlled and coordinated by the endocrine system. Then nervous coordination examples you can see, that is walking, looking, running, writing, talking, listening and reading. And examples of hormonal coordinations are body growth, reproduction, controlling blood concentration and food digestion. Both this hormonal coordination as well as the nervous coordination, they both are having specific importance in the body coordination. How? They enable us, they enables our body organs to function as a unit to detect stimuli and respond toward them. Okay, they control the coordination between the stimuli and the body responses. They help us to avoid the injuries or the dangers, and they enable us to adapt to the changes around us. Okay, so if there is a body coordination, then all the systems, they can, all the organs, they can function properly. Okay, so body coordination is very important. Then we have seen that proper coordination between the various systems of an organism helps to maintain a state of equilibrium, and this state of equilibrium, it is called as the homeostasis. Okay, even if there is a change in the uh, factors like temperature or water level or the enzyme level, if there is a change in them, even then the body maintains its equilibrium, its state of equilibrium, and this state, it is called as homeostasis. Okay, so this much we have learned yesterday. So let's begin with our today's point, that is coordination in plants. Okay, now firstly, plants, they do not have systems like the nervous system or the muscular system like animals, right? Yes or no? In case of plants, there are no any systems. As like in human body, we have learned that there are the excretory system, nervous system, muscular system, right? But here in case of plants, there is no any system. Then how do these plants bring about this movements? Yes, there are no systems present in the plants, right? So how the movements are being carried out in case of plants? In case of plants, the movements are mainly in the form of the responses given to the stimuli. Okay, how the movements are being carried out? They are being carried out by the responses which are given to the stimuli. So depending on this, there are main four types of movements shown by the plants. Okay, so these are called as the trophic movements. The first one is phototrophic movement, second gravitrophic movement, third hydrotrophic movement, and fourth, that is chemotrophic movement. Okay, okay, depending upon the types of movements, there are four types of trophic movements: phototrophism, geotrophism, it is also called as the gravitrophism or geotrophism, then chemotrophism and hydrotrophism. So let us learn each one of them one by one. So firstly, trophic movement, or it is called as trophism. Trophism means what? It is the plant growth or turning in response to an environmental stimulus, that is a condition that affects a plant growth. Okay, as I have said you that in case of plants there are no any organs or organ systems to work, right? So in case of plants, the responses, they are given in the form of the response which is given to the stimulus. Depending upon that, the plant show the movement. Okay, now what do you mean by stimulus? Stimulus means the change in the environment that causes a plant to react. Okay, if there is a change in the environment, then it causes the plant to react, and the plant's reaction to a stimulus, it is called as response. Are you getting? What is response to stimulus? Response to stimulus means As per the changes in the environment, the plant gives its reaction, gives its response. So this response to stimulus, it results in the tropism. It results in the movement of the plant. Okay. So here you can see there are many types of tropisms. First is phototropism. Photo means it is related to light. Okay, photo means it is related to light, phototropism. Second, geotropism. Geotropism means it is related to gravity. Then thigmotropism. Thigmotropism, it is the movement which occurs as a mechanosensory response to the touch stimulus. It is especially found in the twining plants and tendrils. Okay. Then hydrotrophism means it is related to water. Chemotrophism means the movement which are related to chemicals, okay, response to chemicals, and thermotrophism means it is related to temperature, okay. So let us see the trophic movements. The first one, that is the, so before that, trophic movements, we'll just put a glance on this. Trophic movements are growth movements which occur in response to unidirectional external stimuli and result in positioning of the plant part in the direction of the stimulus. Okay, as I told you that response to stimulus means if there is any change in the environment, then depending upon it, the response which is shown by the plants in that position, in that direction, the position of the plant, it changes. Okay, so this trophic movements, they are of two types: positive trophism and negative trophism. Okay, so first, positive trophism means the movement is towards the direction of the stimuli. Okay, the movement is where it is in the direction of the stimuli. And negative trophism, it is the movement which is away from the direction of stimuli. Okay, these are the two types of trophic movements. So the very first, that is phototrophic movement. The shoot system of any plant responds to the light stimulus, that is, it grows towards the source of light. This movement shown by the plants towards the source of light is called as phototrophic movement. Okay, by the name only you will understand. Photo, as I said you, photo is related to light. Okay, so this movement of the plants which is shown in response to light. Okay, just like if it is towards the light, then it is called as phototrophism. Okay, positive phototrophism. Just like bending of the shoot towards the light. Okay, and if the movement of the plant is away from the light, then it is called as negative phototrophism. Example, bending of root. Okay, that is towards the light. Okay, so this is the phototrophism, means when the plants need the sunlight, so they start moving in that direction from where they can receive the light. So this movement of the plant in response to light, it is called as phototrophism. Then gravitrophic movement. Gravitrophic movement means the root system of the plants which responds to stimuli like the gravitation. Okay, the roots of the plants, they respond to the stimulus of gravitation. Okay, so in that way, when the plant starts moving in that direction of gravity, then it is called as gravitrophic trophism. So the function in gravitrophism, it is equal to the movement relative to gravity. Okay, wherever the gravity will move, according to it, the function of gravitrophism will also be showing its response. Okay, so shoots negatively gravitrophic, whereas the roots are positively gravitrophic. Okay, the shoots of the plants, they are negatively gravitrophic, whereas the roots of the plants are positively gravitrophic. In both, the oxygen concentration induces the cell expansion and elongation, either if it is a negative gravitrophic or if it is a positive gravitrophic. In both the ways, you can see that there is the expansion or there is the elongation in the auxin concentration. Okay, so this is about gravitrophism. Then hydrotrophic movement. The root system of plants which responds to stimuli like water. It is called as hydrotrophic movement. Okay, by the name hydro. Hydro means water. Okay, so when the plants they show the movement in search of water, it is called as the hydrotrophism. So why the plants need this hydrotrophism? Why they need this water? As we have learned before this also, that plants prepare their food during the process of photosynthesis, right? And the photosynthesis process can be performed in the presence of water. Okay, water is an essential need, right, to perform the photosynthesis. As well as to support the cell structure, water is being needed. So for the search of water, when the plant shows their movement, then it is called as the hydrotrophism. So again, hydrotrophism is of two types. One is the positive hydrotrophism, means if it is towards the water, and negative hydrotrophism when it is away from the water. Okay, hydrotrophisms are of two types. One is positive hydrotrophism, when the plant show the movement towards the water, then it is called as positive hydrotrophism, and when the plants move away from the water, then it is called as negative hydrotrophism. So hydrotrophism is a change in the growth of a plant in response to water. Okay, when the plant show the growth in response to water, then it is called as hydrotrophism. Okay, the roots display a positive hydrotrophism going towards water. Of course, you see that the roots they get spread deep in the soil in search of water. Okay, so they are showing a positive hydrotrophism so as to reach up to the water. Okay, so this is about hydrotrophism. Then chemotrophism movement. Chemotrophism is movement caused by chemical stimulus in organisms such as bacteria and plants. Okay, this chemotrophism, this movement, it is seen especially in the bacteria and plants. Why it is being seen? It is seen which is being caused by chemical stimulus. Okay, an example of chemotrophic movement can be seen during the growth of the pollen tube. When the pollen tube it grows, then it is showing this chemotrophic movement. This growth of the pollen tube is always towards the ovules. Okay, if you see here, you will understand that a plant's growth in the response to chemical, it is called as chemotrophism. And after a flower is pollinated, a pollen tube grows down through the stigma and style and enters the ovule through the micropyle. The growth of the pollen tube in response to chemicals produced by the ovule is an example of chemotrophism. Here if you can see that the pollen tube, once the flower it is being pollinated, then what happens? The pollen tube it grows towards the stigma and style and it enters the ovule. Okay, and this response which is shown to the specific chemicals, then it is called as chemotrophism. Example you can remember, that is the growth of the pollen tube towards the ovule. So all the above mentioned movements of the plants are related with growth, right? These all movements just now which we have seen, that is phototrophic movement, gravitrophic movement, hydrotrophic movement and chemotrophic movement. These all movements, if you can see that they are being related with growth. Hence, all such movements, they are called as the growth relevant movements. Understood everyone? What are growth relevant movements? The movements shown by the plants which are related to growth. So they are called as the growth relevant movements. Okay. Then see some examples just like mimosa plant. Everybody has seen this mimosa plant. It is also called as touch me not plant. Okay. So if you see in this plant, the movement occurs at the places other than where it has been touched. If you have seen in case of mimosa plant, if we touch any one part of the plant, if we touch at one side also, even you can see that the other side of the leaves, they close the leaves, right? Okay, means what? The moment it is being occurring at one place, but it can be showing its result in the other side as well. Okay, hence we can say that the information of touching must have been carried from one part of the plant to the another, right? If you see the mimosa plant, then if you touch it at any one end, its information must have been traveled from one end to the another end, right? Okay, so this information, who carries this information in case of plants? In case of mimosa plant, if we touch it at any one end of the plant, you can see the other part of the plant, it also closes, right? In the same way, you must have seen this Venus flytrap. Now what is this Venus flytrap? In the plant called as Venus flytrap, there is a trap that appears and smells like flowers and deceives insects. When an insect visits the flower-like trap, the trap closes up and trapped inside insect is digested by the plant. You can see it looks like a beautiful flower, right? It is a plant. It is called as Venus flytrap plant. Okay, so this is, it looks very colorful, it looks very attractive. As a result, the insects, they get attracted towards it. Okay, and once the insect, they enter, they sit on that plant, the trap, it closes. Okay, and what happens, that insect, it is being eaten up, it is being digested by this plant. So the name is given as Venus fly trap. Okay, in the same way, you must have seen the lotus plant. In the lotus plant, you can see that it opens during the daytime while it closes at the night, right? In the same way, in balsam plant, the ripened fruit, they get burst, they open at the right time to disperse the seeds. Okay, so how this information it is being carried in case of plants? Yes, either if we talk about the mimosa plant, if we talk about the balsam plant, or if we talk about the lotus plant or the Venus flytrap plant. So these are the plants, right? So how the information in them it is being transferred? It's a big question, right? So the answer to this question is that the plants use electrochemical impulses to transfer the information from one place to another. Okay, plants, they do not have any organs or any organ systems, right, to carry the information. So how the information it is being carried in case of plants? In case of plants, the information is carried in the form of electrochemical impulses, and this electrochemical impulses, what they do, they transfer the information from one part of the plant to the another. So for this purpose, the plant cells, they change their shape either by increasing or decreasing their water content, and thereby they bring about the movement of the plants. Okay, for carrying this electrochemical impulses, what the plants they do, the plant cells, they either increase or they decrease their water content, and because of which the movement in the plants it is being brought about. Okay, now some specific movements of the plants do not lead to the plant's growth. So such movements are called as growth irrelevant movements. Is that clear? Okay. What are growth irrelevant movements? The movements which do not lead to the plant's growth. There is no any relation between the movement and the growth of the plant. Then such movements are called as growth irrelevant movements, means they are not being connected to the growth of the plant. So they are called as growth irrelevant movement. As a response to the changes in the surroundings, plants hormones brings about the various movements in the plants. Okay, depending upon the changes which are being taking place in the surrounding, the plants also show their movements. Okay, and this is being done with the help of the plants hormones. Okay, so here we have completed our today's points. I hope that you have understood. So before going to the assignment, we will do a quick revision of our today's points. What we have learned in case, firstly, we have studied about the coordination in plants. So in coordination of plants, we have learned that in plants, there are no any organs or there are no any organ systems which can bring about the coordination in plants. So who brings the coordination? Who brings the movements in the plants? So the plants, they move in response to the stimulus. Okay. Depending upon this, there are trophic movements which are shown in the plants. Okay. So what are trophic movements? The movements or the growth of any part of the plant in response to the external stimulus, it is called as the trophic movement. Okay. So these trophic movements are of four types, right? The first one we have seen, that is phototrophic movement. Phototropic, by the name I said you that it is related to light, right? The shoot system of any plant which responds to the light stimulus, that is, it grows towards the source of light. Then such movement shown by the plant towards the source of light is called as phototrophic movement. Then we have seen gravitrophic movement, that is the root system of the plant which responds to the stimuli like gravitation. Then it is called as gravitrophic movement. Then hydrotrophic movement, the root system of the plants which responds to stimuli like water. It is called as hydrotrophic movement. Then chemotrophic movement. What is chemotrophic movement? The movements which are shown by the plants in response to specific chemicals. They are called as the chemotrophic movements. Example, which one? That is the growth of the pollen tube towards the ovule. Then all these movements which are related to the growth are called as the growth relevant movements. Then we have seen the examples like mimosa plant, which is also called as the touch me not plant, Venus flytrap, lotus plant and balsam plant. You can see that the information, it is being traveled from one part of the plant to the another part. So who carries this information or how the information is being carried? This information is being carried in the form of electrochemical impulses. Okay, these electrochemical impulses are being carried from one part of the plant to the another part. And for doing this, what happens? The plant cells, they change their shape either by increasing or decreasing the water content. Okay, and because of this, because of the change in their shape, there leads to be the movement in the plants. Okay, these movements are called as the growth relevant movements in the plants. Whereas in some specific movements of plants, they do not lead to the plant growth. So they are called as growth irrelevant movements. Okay. So this much we have learned today. I hope that you all have understood. So we will just see the assignment questions. The first question is, which are the different types of movements seen in the plants? Okay. Second question is, what is phototropic movement? And the third question is, give some examples of plants in which the electrochemical impulses are carried. Okay. So these questions you can write it in your notebook. Okay. Now, if anyone is interested in giving the answer, which are the different types of movements seen in the plants?
Miss, the different types of movement of a plant is phototrophic movement and hydrotrophic movement and chemicotrophic movement
Yes, very good. And one more.
Yes, Miss.
The trophic moment. Okay.
Yes,
Yes, very good.
yes,
Very
Miss.
good. Yes, very good, Harsha. Next, what is phototrophic moment? Can anyone say me what is phototrophic moment?
Yes, miss. This shows system how any plant responds to the light stimulus, that is, its growth towards the source of light. This movement shown by plants towards the source of light is called phototropic movement.
Very good. What is your name? Phototrophic moment. You gave
Sakshi.
this Sakshi. Very good. Keep it up. Next, give some example of plants in which the electrochemicals impulses are being carried. Yes, who can give this answer? Some examples of the plants.
Touch me not plant, Venus flytrap, lotus, balsam.
Yes, very good, very good. Yes. So a big round of applause for all of you who have given the correct answers. Very good students. So I hope that you all have understood what I have taught you today. Okay. So with this, we have completed our today's point.